For this morning, our spotlight person is someone that I have an incredible amount of respect for. The first time I really met him and got to know him was in Dallas, Texas. While we were there, I learned a little bit about his story. And he had been in the military. He had been, I don't remember what it's called, Old Guard or Honor Guard or Cool Guard or something where they stand really straight and people come around and pick things off their shirt or, like whatever it was like super high discipline activity, right? And he went from that to, if I remember right, doing drywall and construction remodeling stuff. And if I get the story wrong, do not correct me. It makes me feel bad. So so he went from that, and at the time, there was a point in his life where he had $26 in his bank account. He came across AWI and copywriting, and within a matter of about 4 or 5 years, rocketed up to a six-figure copywriter. He's done a lot of stuff now in the financial arena, and then he's also done a lot of stuff in the B2B arena. He told me yesterday that a number of years ago, he picked up a client, and he's had that client. It's been worth tens and tens of thousands of dollars for him over the course of many, many years, 4 or 5 years or something, if I remember right. And over the course of that time, he was able not just to acquire that client, but to upsell them and learn how to maintain them. Remember, we talked about not just creating a flash in the pan success, but creating an engine that repeatedly over time spins out money for you year after year after year after year. And so I'm very, very pleased and excited to welcome to the stage my good friend and a hero to me because of the things he's been able to overcome, Mr. Sean McCool.
I was looking back through my notes this morning, all the great speakers we've had so far, and Clayton's coming up this afternoon. There's the master class, and Josh was going to be speaking, which I heard apparently is great. So that'll be good. And but Clayton's really good. In fact, it was 2005. I was sitting somewhere back here in 2005, and I heard Clayton speak, and he said one thing that completely kind of altered the direction of my life, and it's probably part of the reason I'm up here today. But here's the funny thing. That was 2005. I didn't do anything with copywriting at all from that day, but it kept the dream alive for me. So hopefully you've heard something this week, you've heard something maybe this today that will kind of keep the dream alive for you if you're not quite there yet. I'm not going to tell you what Clayton said. He'll probably say something similar today, so make sure you come hear Clayton. So what happened in 2005 that I came to boot camp, heard many of the same speakers, but then in 2008 I came, and 90 days after that, after boot camp, I was full-time for one of the best marketers in the world, Stansberry. I was on staff with them, and we were living in Baltimore working for Stansberry. So what happened between 2005 and 2008? Right? I mean, some of you have been here before. Some of you, this is your first time. Some of you will leave here and, you'll have a great career, and some of you will leave here and, honestly, you won't do anything. And it'll take maybe next time to come. So I wanted to just kind of share with you what the difference was for me, if that would be all right. Is that good? All right. Oh, the lights are bright. Looks different from up here, by the way. I've been standing in the back because there's been no seats. I mean, this has been an absolutely packed boot camp this year, so I'm seeing the front of all of you instead of the back. But so like I said, I was here I actually got a letter in the mail September of 2008, and it was a COS invitation. And at the time, I couldn't afford really to do anything. I'd been using my copywriter for my handyman business. I'd been writing my own flyers for my handyman business. And there's 3 things that I believe come together on the day that kind of turns your life 180 degrees. And for me, September of 2008, one of those things happened, and that was I was completely and utterly disgusted with my life and where I was. Like Joshua said, I was down, just previously, I'd been down to about $26 in my checking account. I started the handyman business with that $26. I took some of the principles I'd learned with AWAI and made my own flyer for my handyman business. Took 16 of the $26 down to Office Max, got those flyers printed, stuffed them in mailboxes in target neighborhoods based on what I'd learned about, choosing your customer and all that kind of stuff. And took the other $10 and put gas in the car and crossed my fingers. And the next 24 hours later, I had a quote for a job. It was painting a basement, and made $1,000. And it was really because of the flyer I wrote, because I knew kind of what the pain points in that industry were, so I was able to do that. So anyway, I've been doing that for a couple years, and I think I made $7,000 in 1 week as a handyman installing some hardwood floors for somebody. And I realized at the end of that week, with my back hurting, my knees hurting, that was as good as it was ever going to get. That was it. I was like 38 years old, and I was like, I cannot do this the rest of my life. There's just no way. I mean, great for those that can, but I can't do it. So I was really disgusted. Anybody kind of felt like that in their job? Yeah. It's not a requirement, but I think it's certainly a good motivator to have a little disgust in your life to get you going to the next thing you want to go to. So that was the one thing. And I could go on and I'd love to sit with each of you and kind of tell you more of the story so you could and hear your story and help you apply it. But I don't have that much time today, so I'm going to move on. The other thing I think you need, so first one is disgust. These all start with D because I'm a Southern Baptist boy, so 3 points, they all start with D. So good 3-point sermon. So the second one is direction. And direction, you don't want to wait till you're disgusted before you start getting direction, right? So direction is what you're getting right now. You're kind of getting some clarity on which way you want to go. You're getting some tools about how to do this thing called copywriting, right? So you've got the direction. You've got all the resources you need already to do anything you'd want to do in this business. You really do. You've heard the speakers. You got all the direction you need. You just need to kind of be ready. I mean, you can get, like I said, you don't have to wait to be disgusted, but when that day comes, when the boss is really crawling, on your back, and it's Monday morning and it's a 2-hour commute to work or whatever it might be for you, you'll have that direction already. So that's what you're getting today or this week and with all the courses. Now, the last thing is kind of the difference between 2005 and 2008 for me. It's the third D. And Katie talked about it. It was one of the first things she said in her opening remarks, which was decisive action. If you're not willing, I want to try to say this in a way that you're going to get it. So I was driving down here. I was on the phone with one of my coaches, and we were just talking, and he said a phrase that really stuck with me, and hopefully I'm going to just pass it on to you, and so hopefully somebody in the room will get it and it'll help. How many of you have heard something? First, let me ask a question. How many of you have heard something this week that you want to try when you get home? Yeah. Just real quick, just somebody shout out. I'll repeat the answer so we don't have to run a mic or anything, but what's something you want to try when you get home? Just consultant copywriter, yeah. Okay, so get on LinkedIn, start building a platform there. Anybody else? Blogging. Create a system. Okay, so there's lots of ideas that we've all heard. Everybody's going to have something a little bit different. We all want to go home and try those, right? I think it's a terrible idea. I do. That was the problem I had in 2005. I was going to try this copywriting thing, right? I get emotional about this, so. My life never changed when I tried stuff. It changed when I decided I was going to figure it out no matter what. Oh, I need to do that breathing thing again. So what I hope for all of you is that you don't just go home and try this. That you will go home and you will say, come hell or high water, I'm going to figure this out. How many people are willing to not just try it, but to figure it out? All right. If you're committed to figuring this thing out, you will be successful. The work is out there. The opportunities are out there, more than you can ever imagine. I'm still wrapping my head around the opportunities that are out there. Everything that's written that you see, somebody wrote and probably got paid to write that. Everything. I mean, just try to wrap your head around that on the way home when you're looking at the brochure and the ads in the Sky Mall magazine and the, all that stuff. Somebody got paid to write. Could be you, if you're willing to figure it out. And figuring it out means going past the obstacles, not trying a new course when you get stuck, so you want to try something different. It's a totally different world. So, because I've got 1 minute left, and this is the biggest stage I've ever been on, right? I'm going to take a selfie with y'all in the background.